answered in kind. 63. You are far more than you fear. Tell us one of your harshest truths. I will do my best. Many have unconsciously enthroned fear as their chosen deity. They would never articulate it so plainly, yet their reflexes, their judgments, their private prayers betray the allegiance. And you cannot serve two masters. There is no fear in love. Perfect love casts out fear. Fear not, be not afraid, be afraid not. Yet some insist, fear God, unaware that the Hebrew Yirah signifies reverence, trembling awe, astonished wonder, not cowering terror. How saturated with awe can one be while convulsing in dread? Some say fear is the illusion, and love is the truth. It is a thin line, yes, but it is not as convoluted as some would have you believe. Many dismiss it as not that deep. Yet, if you still tremble in anxiety rather than in reverence, perhaps you have not yet gone deep enough. And I assure you from all the love of my being, there is no need to fear depth. Many were conditioned to fear looking inward, as though self-observation were synonymous with self-destruction. This is a fallacy. You walk around with your true self every day. What you fear to meet within is already animating your life without. Some fear, or even condemn, astrology and tarot, yet they fear educating themselves about the symbolic nature of these things. Again, a fallacy. You can think of them as mirrors, and mirrors can only reflect what stands before them. Just be wary not to enthrone reflection itself to be your sovereign. Even that which is etched in stone can be made to dust, and you're far more pliable. When people have been taught to fear self-reflection, it is no wonder they condemn the mirror as viciously as they secretly condemn others. When fear, shame, pain, and guilt remain unexamined long enough, they may crystallize into a plaster mask, a prosthetic identity constructed for survival. It works for a time. It can even appear strong, though with even the slightest tap, 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 micro-fractures galore. When something attempts to illuminate the shadow beneath the mask, the wearer will mistake this for annihilation. For if you truly knew who you were, you would shatter the mask yourself. You would know it was only a pitiful facade, a wasted effort which only conceals your true potential, not only from others, but more importantly, from yourself. The ego recoils and lashes out to preserve its continuity. This is the nature of psychological projection. What is disowned within is expelled outward. If left undefined long enough, these unexamined forces can blister into anger, which are liable then to be mistaken for righteousness. We judge books by their covers, people, actions, entire realms of thought. Judgment is always a mask of fear. And this is not to say we should permit or allow harm to persist, but as well, one need not dwell on vicious thoughts either. A fallacy which only provokes the phantoms of the unexamined psyche. Prosthetic identity functions for a season, but eventually its usefulness thins. The old defenses fail. We become trapped in repetition compulsion, reacting again and again to reflections of our own insecurity. Blood flow shifts from the prefrontal cortex, the seat of reason and discernment, to the amygdala's fight or flight circuitry. Higher faculties dim. Adrenaline floods the nervous system. In that state, people say astonishingly foolish things in the ego's frantic attempt at self-defense, though many times there was nothing to defend against outside themselves. But how would one know if one never paused to illuminate the shadows beneath their precious plaster mask? They signal their own internal incongruence by barking like a dog at strangers. We may encounter someone and something about them brushes against an unhealed place within us. Rather than tending to it, we strike. We deploy harsh words to regain a sense of control, or to taste the fleeting triumph of making another feel inferior through moral intimidation or cutting speech. These are fickle masters. The victory is hollow. It fades quickly, and all that remains is shadow. To wound another, especially when they had nothing to do with the original injury, does not heal our own wound. It deepens it. This is the dreaded cycle of misery many inhabit unknowingly, often through poor education of emotional intelligence. You deserve better than that. But don't let me tell you what you need. Hades is only the shady side of Paradiso, beloved. If angels can fall, can devils and demons rise? Why would they need to? All they have to do is step out of the shadows into the light. Of course, such language compresses vast histories of meaning into poetic shorthand. Many recite words like these compulsively without ever inquiring into their origins or layers of meaning. Another repetition compulsion. Again, many have been taught to fear who they truly are beneath colorless social conditioning. Truly, to fear one's own shadow. Fear not, child of light. If you are the light, why fear the shadow cast by ignorance? Turn that light around. Be not afraid. No one remains ignorant forever. Awakening comes to all in due time. It can feel frightening, yes, astonishing, even overwhelming, but often that fear arises because we have attached ourselves to illusions that dissolve under greater understanding. When the plaster mask of prosthetic identity slips and shatters on the floor of the heart, we mistake it for annihilation. It is not. The true self remains. Many were made to fear knowledge, Yet truth cannot dissolve. What dissolves was never ultimate truth, but scaffolding, temporary structures that served a season. When they fall, they make room for greater illumination. As Yehoshua taught, knowledge is the key to freedom, but unused keys are merely ornamental. It is application which unlocks the door, and even then it must be you who opens the door. Application requires an act of will. Free will is sacred. It cannot be infringed upon without inviting lessons inevitably upon oneself. Some believe that binding another's freedom will somehow secure their own. This is projection. It only postpones the inevitable interior work. You are sovereign. You may crucify yourself as often as you wish. At the beginning and end of each breath, you are the authority over your own interior. But to declare yourself authority over one who has learned to think and discern for themselves is a fallacy. Coercion is not a fruit of faith. It is a confession of its absence. Take up your scepter. You are no one's master but your own, and always were. Wield the light of all you are. Do not dwell in the shadows of your becoming. Illuminate yourself. You have nothing to fear in your true self. Yet, the longer you refuse to examine the dim corridors of ignorance into which you were once led, the larger your shadow will appear. Until then, your seeming demons will press upon you with increasing force. Bear down upon them back, I say, not with frenzy, but with luminous, sovereign authority. This is not your dissolution. It is the falling away of the plaster mask that shielded you in your gestation. Oh, you are far more than you know. Stand up. Take heed. You already do, and for that I am proud of you. You will awaken in your own time. No one can force it. The path to awakening does not look the same for everyone, not by a long shot. Even if it did, why would there ever be a need to grit our teeth and strive so desperately to make it so? Such striving often reveals insecurity projected outward. Projection is confession disguised as accusation. It does not suit you. We all grow out of old clothes eventually. Clutching its shadows to stabilize identity only exposes its fragility. If one must raise their voice to defend their peace, the raised voice betrays the unrest within. One does not need to tense or grit their teeth to share the peace of what we call God. Peace does not require strain. You will awaken in your own time. I have full faith in you. This is the meaning of faith. I shall not commit the reversal prayer of worry over thee. No. Some of the reins you clutch do not serve you, though. You betray your fear. We all do. For it was never to be our master. You are far more.